I just started my residency at St. Mary's Hospital, a century-old institution with a reputation for being one of the most haunted places in the city. The staff often exchanged ghost stories, but I dismissed them as mere folklore. That was until I experienced something that shook me to my core. It was a quiet night in the emergency department, with only a few patients occupying the beds. Around 2 a.m., a call came in about a severe car accident. The paramedics arrived with a young woman in her 20s, unconscious and covered in blood. We rushed her into trauma room 3, working tirelessly to stabilize her. As I was suturing a deep laceration on her abdomen, the lights flickered, and the room temperature seemed to drop suddenly. I glanced at the monitors, but they showed no signs of malfunction. Dismissing it as a momentary glitch, I continued my work. After several hours, we managed to stabilize her, but she remained in a coma. We transferred her to the intensive care unit and hoped for the best. Later that night, as I was catching up on paperwork, I heard a faint humming sound. It was a melancholic tune, echoing through the empty corridors. Curious, I followed the sound, which led me to the ICU. As I approached the young woman's room, the humming grew louder. Peering through the small window, I saw her sitting upright in bed, her eyes wide open, staring directly at me. The haunting melody flowed from her lips. I felt a chill run down my spine. She wasn't supposed to be awake, let alone singing. I entered the room cautiously, but as soon as I stepped inside, she stopped humming and lay back down, eyes closed as if nothing had happened. I checked her vitals. Everything was normal, and she appeared to be in a deep coma. Confused and unnerved, I left the room, convincing myself that the stress and lack of sleep were playing tricks on me. The following nights grew increasingly unsettling. I would find objects moved from their usual places, hear whispers in empty rooms, and catch fleeting glimpses of shadowy figures in my peripheral vision. Each time I investigated, I found nothing. One night, as I was making my rounds, I heard the humming again. This time, it was coming from the pediatric ward, which had been closed for renovations. The area was off limits, but the sound was unmistakable. Summoning my courage, I pushed open the double doors and stepped into the darkened hallway. The humming grew louder, resonating off the walls. I followed it to room 304, a room that hadn't been used in years. The door creaked as I opened it, revealing a dimly lit room with outdated medical equipment covered in white sheets. In the center stood a figure, its back turned to me, humming that same sorrowful tune. "Hello?" I called out, my voice trembling. The figure stopped humming and slowly turned around. It was the young woman from the ICU, her eyes hollow and devoid of life. She opened her mouth as if to speak, but instead a blood-curdling scream erupted, echoing through the halls. I stumbled back, my heart racing. Suddenly, the lights flickered, and the room was plunged into darkness. I fumbled for my flashlight, and when I turned it on, the room was empty. Terrified, I rushed out, slamming the door behind me. I reported the incident to my supervisor, but when we returned to room 304, it was locked and the humming had ceased. The young woman remained in her coma, showing no signs of waking. Over the next few weeks, the hauntings intensified. Patients and staff reported seeing apparitions, hearing disembodied voices, and feeling unexplained cold spots. The hospital's atmosphere grew oppressive, as if a dark cloud had settled over it. One evening, as I was preparing to leave, I received a call from the ICU nurse. The young woman's condition had deteriorated rapidly, and she was nearing death. I rushed to her room, but it was too late. She had passed away, her face twisted in an expression of sheer terror. As I stood there, the lights flickered once more, and I felt a cold breath on the back of my neck. I turned around, but no one was there. The humming began again, louder and more menacing than before. It seemed to come from all directions, surrounding me. Panicked, I fled the hospital, the haunting melody echoing in my ears. I resigned the next day, unable to face whatever malevolent force resided within those walls. To this day, I am haunted by the memories of St. Mary's Hospital. The humming still lingers in my mind, a constant reminder of the darkness that lurks just beyond our understanding.